Hey everyone, thanks for watching. So this is going to be sort of a walkthrough slash checkpoint slash milestone, something along those lines here. I am about to take a break from the project for a couple of weeks for two reasons. One, I do have some family responsibilities at home, kid transport and various things like that, son going back to college. So I need to be available for those things. But also last night, moving sheets of OSB, I injured my right elbow. And so I'm going to take a little break here just to kind of rest and heal up. I need to move some more heavy materials. You can see I am not done with the OSB here. But hey, you hit 49, you push yourself pretty hard, you're going to break a few things. So that happened. And I'm just going to make this quick video to kind of walk through where things are, what's coming next, and what you can expect to see in a few follow-up videos, but bear in mind it may be a few weeks before I get the next one posted. So just kind of walking through what's right in front of us, you can see I've got some more sheathing here. This is 5/8 material, and that is going to extend the rest of the sheathing for areas that aren't covered yet on the siding today. Again, most of those spots were either areas where I didn't have enough material, or more important, where walls overlapped, and the sheathing needs to overlap the joints of the walls. Sorry, no, the walls don't overlap, the sheathing does. So anywhere there's a wall joint, the sheathing spans across it to tie them together, and I left those off when I was raising the walls. So one of my projects this fall will be putting the rest of that up, but I am waiting to put the second floor on because that sheathing will also span up onto the second floor and tie that down to the first, as well as some hurricane straps. I have some metal strap hardware that I'll be installing. So that is going to be a big project. Fortunately, I have all that material here on site, and so I just need to get it installed, and that'll be one of my projects here. Over here, you can see I've got roof rafters. These are 2x8s. I have two different lengths here because the rafters that go on this side of the house and down here across the mudroom will be short, but there will be a long span from the very peak, from the ridge, down to this load-bearing wall, which will be, right here, kind of extending up. And so I've got two lengths here to be able to do that. As you can see, it's mostly good material. I do have some material with some cracking in it, and also some warped bits. That'll be used for blocking and that kind of stuff when I do my eaves and overhangs and all that. Pretty typical. Everybody bitches about, curved wood from Home Depot, but when you get into framing and you buy stuff by the pallet, you're going to get some material. That's just how it is. There's stress built up in the tree. When the stuff dries out, that stress gets released, especially when it gets cut. And over time, as it dries, you will get some warping, so you just work around it. And you always order 10 to 20% more, so you have enough material to be able to do that. For the cost of a rafter, I'm not going to return one piece, even if the lumber yard would let me. This is where I stopped with my subfloor. That's a few sheets left for the second floor subfloor, which we'll look at in a minute. And the reason I paused again is because I hurt my elbow. I still have some range of motion in my right arm, but I don't want to push it. Those sheets weigh 80-something pounds a piece. And even with only 3 left, it's not worth the risk of injuring myself. So I'm going to just take a pause on here and kind of come back to it. You can see peeking out in the mess under the deck here, you can see some LVLs, and those are going to be the ridge beam. It's going to be 2 plies, so 2 of those times 3 lengths. The house is 44 feet long, and the ridge is going to run, between these 2 girders here, right across the middle of the great room. So there's going to be a stud pack that comes down here, and I'm going to make a similar one. You can see if I walk very carefully, you can see my studs kind of line up as you look through the house. That's not by accident. Where those studs line up, I'll be installing some extras. I just didn't do it yet because I wanted to run a string line and get them exactly in line in case I had any variance in my measurements or my walls. So I'll be adding those and getting the rest of my stud packs in and up into the second floor to support that ridge beam. I wanted to go with a ridge beam for a couple of reasons, but the biggest one is that in the great room, I am going to be putting some rafter ties in, some beams across, but I didn't want them to have to be as structural as they would be if I was using a traditional ridge board setup, where more of the load is carried on the outer portion of the wall and there's more pressure pushing out on that wall. So I wanted to have the flexibility of kind of keeping that space a little bit more open. I will still be doing some 4-foot spaced beams, but more for the visuals and for wind load resistance, pressing on the outer wall. Having a structural ridge beam means that I have a lot more leeway and wiggle room with how I space them and where I put them and how they work. Coming over here, I've got a work in progress. You can see I've got some holes dug in the ground. Yes, that sonotube is not off center. I just kind of learned this as a trick. I'm sure every experienced builder knows this, but rather than laying out my string lines where I'm laying it out over the center, I'm laying out over the edge. So you can see my little cross point here is right kissing the edge of that sonotube. And I obviously need to kick it over a little bit and add some support, but I'll be pouring some footings here for the deck. This material here is going to be for the deck. The 4x4s and the long boards are going to be for the front deck, and they will have a little bit of a roof there. Not really a lot of load, so a 4x4 is fine, but just enough of a roof to provide some shelter from the rain when you're coming in. And then the deck on the master bedroom will not have a roof over it. Maybe someday later we'll add a canopy or maybe add something, but for right now it's fine. We're not going to worry about it. These shorter boards are for that. So this deck here is going to be just around 16 by 12, and that's going to be about 14 by 8. So you can see I'll be installing some ledger boards across here, and I wanted to get this project started because as I start going up to the second level and start working on the roof, there will be a gable that comes out this direction here. And when I do that, when I connect that roof into the house, obviously I need the corner posts in place to be able to tie all that together. So I've started digging the footings here and getting this stuff laid out and set up. And, it's a work in progress, not quite done yet, but over the next couple of weeks, that'll be something that I'm working on. You can see I've already got the holes dug. There'll be 2 footings for that deck. It's a pretty small deck, so it doesn't really need any more than that. Coming into the house here, this is going to be a hot mess. I have material all over the place, but I have started trying to get a little bit organized, get kind of tools in one spot and lumber in another. And what I've really been working on over the past couple of weeks or the past couple of days anyway, is getting the second floor in shape. So let's go up there and have a look. You can see I now have steps in place. These are temporary treads, but those are the real risers. They're more or less cut okay. It's my first go making stairs, and they came out pretty okay. I need to add a little bit of support in the middle here. These are 2x12s, but given the span here and everything, just a little bit of stiffness will add to the structure, and they are tied over into this wall here so that it adds some support there as well. You can see that I've stood off the stringer from the wall there with some OSB, just some leftover scraps. And the reason that I did that is so that I can drop my drywall right down behind it and then just do a nice piece of trim running up the stairs, and it'll look nice and flush, and I won't have one extra piece of shoe molding in there kind of filling out any gaps with the drywall. Just a nice crisper effect there. I did kind of screw up my top stair. One of my steps is just a little bit crooked there. You can see it's not quite level, but it's fine for right now. I can fix that. I'll come back in later and just kind of jack that up a 1/4 inch. It looks bad, but it's only about a 1/2 inch out. So that was just me. I was eyeballing it. I should have actually had my level on it. Oops, my bad. Coming up to the second floor here, you can see that I've started getting my sheathing up here. Don't have all of it. And actually, the 3 sheets that I have left in that pile are not enough. But that's okay, because down here, I don't know if I can safely show you this on camera, I've got another 5 sheets down there on the ground, and that should be enough to finish this off. So what I'll be doing is I'm going to be cutting my my rim board just kind of flush there and also flush over there. I just ran them long because it was convenient, and that will be a very small knee wall, just the height of that, so that my rafters can come down and land at the same level as the rest of this. The rafters will come down and land on the outer edge here, so there won't be any headroom out there. That's fine. We'll box that in. Maybe it'll be storage. But when you come up the stairs here, the plan is I'm going to have a wall running down the loft right along here, which I need because this is a load-bearing wall running all the way down the middle of the building. So that wall will continue here, and that will carry the load from the roof so that my rafters don't have to be as long. I would have needed like 28-foot rafters to be able to hit from my ridge all the way down to the edge of that wall there, and that would have been just a really long span. You can do that if you do like purlins and kickers, but For me, it was easier. We wanted the wall here in the middle of the house anyway. So if I run this up, it'll basically serve the same purpose. And then my rafter runs will be cut in half. So this one here, I don't remember the numbers off the top of my head, but I think it's like 9.5 feet, and then 13 or maybe 15 feet to there, something along those lines. So you can kind of get a sense of it now, where the peak will be here. The rafters will come down with a 512 pitch roof and land on this outer wall, and then out over the mudroom and over the deck, there will be a little bit of a roof with a gable that kind of comes out this direction. And then obviously what I'm doing here is I've just started fastening the material down. Unfortunately, I'm going to leave the site for a couple of weeks and all my chalk lines are going to disappear, but that's okay. I have started getting my layouts where I want them. There are a couple of areas here where on purpose I didn't put my joists quite where they needed to be. I was really working around staying with a 16-inch on center spacing, but wanting kind of some doublers around areas with walls like this where plumbing is going to drop down in the middle, and I didn't want a joist kind of in the middle of that. So putting them on either side serves a lot of extra purposes. It gives me the space for plumbing if we ever put a bathroom up here, but also by hanging over the top plate of that wall down there, it provides a little bit of drywall backing. So those two joists are where they are on purpose, and that means my sheet's not going to break right on one. And I'll come in and sister this up. I'll either add a joist or some blocking across. This is just a storage area. I'm not really worried about it. It's not carrying any extra load. There's not going to be like load-bearing walls up here or like pianos and things like that. So I'm not really worried about it, but I will be obviously working on improving the layout and just kind of getting this set up a little bit better here. So as I go down the row here, the loft will end there. You can see where the loft line is now. There will be a railing here, and you can see that from the loft, we'll be able to look out through the great room. There will be one more row of windows here, and we won't quite have a view of the mountains because we'll be too high. We'll be looking kind of down, but we will get a lot of natural light, particularly in the afternoon. The sun sets over those mountains, and that will give us a lot of nice light here to be able to, use this as an extra space. It could be an office for my wife. It could be a TV room for grandkids. Really just more storage. This side of the attic, behind this wall, there will be a door. This will be just storage and maybe a little bit of extra mechanical. As you can see, we are above the mechanical room here. That's where the ladder is. And this is the space where our furnace, water heater, solar, and stuff like that will go. So I may do something like put more of the solar equipment up here, or maybe put HVAC up here just to get it out of the way and keep the mech room a little cleaner. This mechanical room is quite long. It's about 5 feet by 12 feet, maybe close to 13. And that is a lot of room, but this is also going to do dual purpose as a laundry. So this section of that room will be a laundry room, and we'll have a washer dryer stack there, and then probably a deep freeze along this wall. We wanted to be able to put it somewhere near the kitchen, but let's face it, you don't go into a deep freeze every day. We don't have a garage to put it in, nor are we going to have one in the plan. So we want it inside the house, and that is the most sensible place to put it, right there. And actually preparing for that, I've got an extra joist run under that mechanical room underneath the house to provide some extra support. So that was all part of the plan, and that mechanical room will fill up, though. By the time I put in everything I just listed, we may be running out of room. So it'll be nice to have an extra space up here that we could do, like I said, like the HVAC or something along those lines. So this is where I'm pausing. I'm going to get all my tools cleaned up and get the whole site buttoned up. You can see that, the septic, I've done a little bit of work smoothing out the dirt there, but not too much. But this is kind of as far as we were able to take it. And I'm going to put a pause on the project for a couple of weeks. But please stay tuned. Like and subscribe if you're interested in what we're up to here, or seeing the final project come together with the roof, because we will be back at it in a couple of weeks. And I don't think there's anything wrong if we're not posting. It's just, kind of a scheduling thing here. So thank you again for watching, and see you soon.